Okay. So, bless you, Zen. Could you hear our dog sneezing? He's such a loud sneeze. It was adorable. Okay.
I love puppies.
Yeah, he's so cute. He's like such a big dog, but he's like acts like such a little baby. It's adorable. Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and mute you, Lisa. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna mute anybody as they come in, and we're gonna go ahead and start with a meditation, and then we're gonna get into the training. Yeah.
So I'm gonna lead the meditation. It's just gonna be a loving, beautiful meditation. Basically, just to kind of where we want our heart to stay in the relationships, right? When we are present in our hearts, it makes love so much easier, from my perspective. So I'm just going to start with a open-hearted, smiling, open-hearted meditation.
And then we're going to go ahead and get into the training of manifesting a relationship with the
Yeah. So if you don't mind, just take some deep breaths. Breathe in through the nostrils. We're just chilling, relaxing, breathing in, breathing out. Really easy, really relaxing. Nothing to do but breathe and enjoy life. Your breath is your spirit. That's your connection to your spirit. And we're just breathing and relaxing. It's really easy, really fun. Nothing to do, just to breathe and relax. And if you don't mind, I'm going to add, you can add a smile to it. And if your smile, we're going to call your smile your love. If your breath is your life, let's let our smile be our love. And if you could just smile. If you want to smile in your mind, if you want to smile on your face, whatever, it's totally fine. We're just breathing and smiling. It's really easy. Just really connecting to that love energy, that beautiful love energy. Your smile is a natural healer. Think of all the times, all the love you've given with your smile, all the love you receive with other smiles. Everybody is beautiful when they smile. Smiling raises your serotonin. It's really easy. We're just breathing and smiling. We're just going to add another element to that if you want to, and it's just breathing into the smile. So we're going to breathe in, and as we breathe in, we're going to feel our smile expand. Mine's already doing that, and it feels really good. We're just going to kind of feel our smile expand to our cheeks. And we're going to kind of feel our cheeks smile. So we're just breathing it in, and then we're going to let it kind of flow down to our chin. And just breathe in our smile and just feel our smile expand on our face. Feel it on the tip of our nose, the tip of our nose smile, our lips, our beautiful lips. We're going to keep the smile going till it reaches our eyebrows. We're going to feel our eyebrows smile. We're just breathing and smiling, letting that beautiful, smiling, heart love energy just flow all over our face. We're just going to breathe that in some more. Feel our forehead smile, our temples, the bottom of our ears, our hair, each piece different, each piece perfect, each piece divine. Our crown, we're just going to feel our crown chakra smile. And we're just going to let that energy, our whole face, our whole head is just a giant smile. It just feels like a smile. It just feels like love. And we're going to let that energy flow down our throat chakra. And anything in this energy field, anything we said we didn't get to say, You know, anything we wanted to say, we didn't get to say. Anything we said, we didn't really feel that good about. Maybe it didn't come from our hearts. It's okay. We're just going to smile at it. Our smile's kind of going to be like a floodlight, just slowly, lovingly, gently flowing down our throat chakra. Just smiling at anything, any energy that's stuck there. It's just going to clear out. It's just going to turn to light, turn to the light of our smile. And we're just breathing and having a good time. It's really easy. We really appreciate ourselves for being here. We know how much we care about ourselves. We know what we deserve. We know what we desire. We're just going to keep smiling. And we're just going to let that energy flow. It's going to kind of touch our shoulders. And any kind of weight on our shoulders, any kind of energy that's just kind of heavy that we kind of carry around sometimes. We're just going to let that smile energy tickle it. It's going to laugh a little bit. It's going to be a little silly, and it's going to feel a little good. It's going to shake off a little bit. And that energy is going to kind of just brush off. And any kind of weight there, we're just going to smile at it. Just going to kind of free it. And we're just going to breathe that in. And we're going to let that energy keep flowing until it reaches our heart. And our heart is our connection with Source, God, whatever you want to call it, the formless divine. And we're just going to breathe that energy in our heart. And this is the place where all love happens, where all magic happens. And this place feels like appreciation. It feels like love. It feels like clarity. It feels like power. It feels like joy. And we're just going to breathe that in. And we're just going to call that who we are. It feels like who we are. And anything in our energy field, whatever it is, if it's a fear, if it's a negative thought, if it's a pain, we're just going to invite it into that heart right now, that love energy. We're just going to invite it in, and we're just going to let it feel that loving energy. And we're just going to let it know that no matter what, you know, it doesn't have to stay here. It can keep feeling bad if it wants, but we just want it to know that that unconditional love energy is always present. It's who we are, and we can talk shit about it for 30 years. We can run away from it for our whole lives. We can do, you know, whatever to it, and it doesn't care. It's unconditional, and it loves us no matter what. It's always giving us the next best thought. It's always here for us. All we have to do is open our hearts to it. And we're just going to take one more deep breath and just breathe all that love in. Just breathe in all who we are. We're just going to really thank our hearts. Thank all our love. And just know that anything that doesn't feel like that love, anything in the world that doesn't feel like that love, you know, it's just because whoever is not connected to that love, and that's okay. Nobody looks at a rose and says that rose is stupid, it hasn't blossomed yet. Everything takes time. And we're giving ourselves the gentle, loving time we desire. And we're thankful for who we are. If you just want to come back, take one more deep breath and open your eyes. And we're just going to feel really great. Beautiful.
Awesome. That was a perfect way to start. Meditations are just like awesome. It's really great to just get really present and ground and to just get really receptive to everything that we're going to say. Just let go of the I love that because, like, honestly, I remember the first time you did that meditation for me. I was like, "What? Smile?" Which was like years ago. I was like, "That's weird," and like doing it anyways would really make me like break out of my shell and go into my heart even more. So, like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Good. So, you guys are here today because we're watching the recording because you want to not only manifest your soulmate relationship, but you want to actually maintain it. You want to, and not just maintain it, like you want a relationship that's built to last and that it's not just built to last and survive, but it's like going to thrive.
Built to thrive.
Yeah, built to thrive and get better and deeper over time. And so we are, and a lot of you guys know us, and that's why you're here, right? But for people watching this recording in the future or watching the replay, and you don't know us that well, my name is Tiana, and this is Justin.
And Justin, and I do life coaching.
And I do coaching for, single spiritual women sometimes. And I have the manifest their soulmate, but we work on, internal stuff that you guys know, self-love, law of attraction, all that. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to, first of all, what we think is like important before we get into like the relationship nitty gritty of like how to sustain and maintain and make a relationship really awesome. We first need to address like who you need to be to attract that and to create a relationship, to manifest somebody like that into your life. Like, who do you need to be in order to be a vibrational match to attracting a person that's ready for that, right? So like, this is not, we're not going to get too much into this today, but we're going to tell you some basics, right? So I think it's really important before you get into a relationship, you need to have done some work on yourself, and probably a good amount if you're like most normal people that have a lot of issues, right, that they've had to work on, right? So like, if you still have a lot of insecurities, if you still have a lot of issues, then you're not going to be able to attract somebody that is in the realm of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. And it's because, you're not in the realm of it, right? Like,
yeah.
So I think it's, the two biggest things that I definitely want to focus on as far as like what you need to work on before even trying to attract a partner is work on loving yourself. Being your own source, love yourself, work on any kind of body image, any kind of insecurities, any kind of fears. Let that stuff go. Know how worthy you are, know how amazing you are, and know how worthy of love you are and how you deserve to be treated really well. And know that you are of high value and somebody else of high value wants to love you.
And I would like to add something I think is really amazing that feels really great to me is you want to be, and this is a great tip, if I were you guys, I would write this down or at least remember it. You want to be loyal to yourself, like you would be loyal to a partner. You want to be there for yourself first. So if you have this partner that you really love and you want to be loyal to the person and be there for the person and be the best person you could be, which people want in relationships, I feel like first it's about being loyal to yourself and to your love and to who you are. So I feel like that's a great place to start, is making yourself, your love, the most important thing in your life.
Right. And I also think that, self-love and self-worth is so important, because if that's not there, then you're not going to be able to attract somebody that can see your value, right? And that's a really important, solid foundation to have in a relationship. And I would also say another important thing that you should work on before even trying to attract a relationship or before getting into one, let's say, because this is, you work on this stuff when you're in the process of wanting to manifest somebody anyways. But that is being able to be really freaking happy alone, right? And these things maybe sound a little cliche or maybe not, but these things are really hugely important. Just because, like, if you go into a relationship unable to satisfy yourself, you're not going to really be able to go into a relationship for the right reasons, and you're not going to be able to attract somebody that's able to do that, that's able to be happy either. Like, they're going to feel incomplete, they're going to feel depressed, they're going to have all these issues they're going to bring into the relationship and put on you. right? So I think it's really important to be a whole, healthy, self-loving individual as best as you can before approaching a relationship. That way you can attract somebody that is ready to move forward, that is ready to grow, and that is ready to be emotionally available.
Yeah, and take for example in our relationship, this one experience I remember. Gianna went to California and was for some like coaching thing, and she came back, and Jenna was telling me, this is Gianna's twin, that Gianna was making sex eyes with some guy the whole time, right? So, but at the same time, that didn't really bother me because I'm loyal to myself. Like, it's not something I wanted to hear, you know. I wasn't like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go masturbate to this or something. I was just kidding. But I was loyal to myself, where I was like, okay, I'm cool. I mean, I can handle that because I am loyal to myself. I'm in a space where I love who I am. So stuff that maybe would flip someone else out and make you mad and make you worry about your relationship, I don't do that because it's like I feel awesome. Like I'm thinking, you know, okay, well if she wants to be with this guy, fine. On some level. I mean, not fine, but you know what I mean.
I mean, like that's not what you want, but like you would be okay.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't
need to like cling
exactly. Like I love Gianna more than anything in the whole world, but I feel I would be fine on my own.
Like you would survive.
I would thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just thrive.
Because I think that I've always thrived and I always will thrive because thriving is who I am.
And that's something that's not about a relationship.
Exactly.
And that's something that you want to really get really established in.
Yes, because you want the relationship. The relationship is best when it's a byproduct of your already happiness, right? So you're not going into it with these, like a couple of things I wrote down, like something that's always been great with me is I've always been really, I don't know, people talk about loneliness a lot. Like I had a client yesterday who's like, you know, I'm really lonely and stuff. I feel lonely. And something that's always really helped me is like loneliness, sadness, and all that sort of stuff has, and there's might be a lot of momentum there, so this might not make sense, but it's always felt great to me for some reason. So anytime I felt lonely, anytime I felt sad,
it was like you appreciated it.
I appreciated it. It was grounding for me. Like loneliness was sort of a energy. It's like, oh, cool, I'm walking down the street, I'm feeling lonely. The moonlight shining out, it's so beautiful.
Well, you kind of like romanticized it.
Yeah, I kind of romanticized it and made it feel beautiful, but at the same time, it didn't feel lonely anymore.
Right. Well, I think
sadness doesn't feel sad anymore when you are okay with it, when you're in love with it, when it feels beautiful.
Right. Well, I think that, you know, this is something, like, I feel like when you're not full within your own happiness, you're not grounded in your own happiness, that really manifests as a feeling of loneliness. And if you're in a relationship, it kind of makes you feel lonely in a relationship or dissatisfied in a relationship, which kind of feels, which kind of feels like a lot of people blame that on their love life, right? They blame how they feel and their happiness or lack thereof on a relationship. And that's not productive because you're the allower or the disallower of your well-being 100% of the time, no matter what somebody else is doing or not doing. So like, no matter how somebody treats you or doesn't treat you, like your reaction to it is always about you, right? And like when you're really, like, love is who you really are. You're pure positive energy as a soul. That's who you really are. And so like, as long as you're not practicing things that are pinching you off from your natural well-being, then you're gonna feel pretty freaking good most of the time. You're gonna feel pretty freaking fulfilled and satisfied most of the time. And that's not you're not gonna feel lonely. You're not gonna feel unsatisfied, right? And I think it's important to make that connection before getting into a relationship, and consciously remember this in a relationship that, you know, if you're feeling good, it's because of you. If you're feeling bad, it's because of you.
That's great.
And that makes you stop giving your power away so much to relationships. And so like if, you know, somebody's not showing up in the relationship, which we typically manifest when we're not showing up in our own well-being, then it's like we don't really feel that bad because we're still really feeling great, right?
Yeah.
And this is like a metaphor that I like to use when it comes to this. Like, you know, growing up as a teenager, I had a lot of issues with my mom, as most people probably do with their parents. And you know, every time like me and my mom would get into like a bigger fight, she would be like, "I'm gonna shut off your phone, like get out of my house," yeah, right? And so like I would always feel like forced to comply with her, right? And so you know, as an adult, right? I'm not on her phone plan anymore. I live in my own space. She came and visited Justin and I a couple of weeks ago or so, like maybe
About a month ago.
Maybe a month or so ago. And she kind of like seemed a bit tense, and Justin had seen my mom like flip out before, and so Justin was like a little like tense around her, and he confided in me, and he was like, you know, yeah, I feel like your mom's being a little weird, like I don't want her to like flip out or something like that. And I was like, okay, you know, I get it. But those are her feelings, you know, don't take that on. And I was like, besides, what is she gonna do? Like, what can she do? Like, is she gonna kick me out of my own house? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And kick me off of a phone plan that she's not on, right? And I like to use that metaphor because that in that metaphor, it's a really great example of how like my mom didn't have power over me, right? But like when you have your own shit, right? Like when you're your own source, other people have less power over you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, so that's I think it's really important to know that going into a relationship, because when you're really empowered in your own happiness, you attract people that really add to your life.
Exactly.
And you know, it doesn't mean like, oh yeah, be happy alone. Like just I don't care if somebody's treating you like shit or not showing up for you. Like you're just gonna have to feel happy anyways. No, like when you're doing that, you're not gonna attract those people anymore. You're gonna attract people that show up for you and that like really add to your life and amplify that happiness and that joy.
Exactly, and that's a great point. And back to the point about the loneliness, and when you're in that period of like loneliness or sadness or whatever, we tend to attract that from others, and we tend to act in those kind of ways. So we do things from that place that aren't really helpful for us, and we attract from that. We maybe attract people that, you know, maybe we're bored or maybe we're doing these things, and it's nothing wrong with it, but it's just when we act from that place, we create that in our lives.
And I feel like a lot of people, when they're bored or lonely or unsatisfied, like I said, they just make it about the relationship, and then they seek that realignment and that fulfillment from the relationship, and then they often don't get it because they're not a vibrational match to it, right? Like if I'm feeling really bored and lonely and unsatisfied, and I'm like, Justin, let's hang out. Justin, let's have sex. Justin, let's go on a date. Typically, what I would get back from Justin from that energy would be Justin being like, I love you, but I'm really in the middle of something. I really want to focus on this, like some other time kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so it's like from that energy, I don't get that. I don't manifest that. And it's not until like I'm in alignment, then it's like I may not feel inspired to do those things with Justin from there. I might feel inspired to do my own thing. But from that alignment, when I do feel inspired to, it always works out. And Justin's like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Exactly. No, yeah, I was gonna say, and like recently she was in that place and I did go with her there, and we didn't have a good night. I watched some stupid show till like 2 in the morning that I didn't really want to watch.
Well, that was kind of like you though.
I know, it was both of us.
Right. Well, I mean, I suggested, I asked, and you were like,
well, I kind of felt obligated anyway, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just going on to say this is the next morning I woke up, I was mad at her, I was mad at me, and I sprained my ankle. And I'm not really badly. And I'm not saying that something bad's gonna happen, but when you're out of alignment things happen. And of course the sprained ankle was great and taught me a lot about life. But at the same time, that's what happens. So we want to really be knowing who we are. And something that I would write this down too, is
no, I just love how you're like, I would write this down. Yeah.
Or remember this, or you know, tattoo it on you or whatever. But what's always helped me is being authentic with however I'm feeling. So in relationships with people. So if I'm in a, you know, with someone and I'm not really feeling it, I tell them. Or if I'm in this place that doesn't really feel good, I'm going to be authentic with them.
Okay. So like, and I think that's great. And I think that, you know, I totally agree with that. And I think that, you know, that definitely ties into like, you know, you have to be the source of your own happiness first, and you have to be pretty well grounded in that before. I mean, I feel like you should before manifesting someone, and I feel like I got really grounded in that before manifesting Justin. Whereas, like, when I didn't, my relationship before Justin, it was a very codependent relationship, emotionally. And, you know, I think it's really important to take that into the relationship and not, and this is something, and this is why a lot of people say that they lose themselves in relationships. Like, they drop their own self-care, whether that's mental, emotional, or physical, and just totally surrender to the relationship instead of maintaining their individual wholeness, right? So, like, I see this a lot, and I think that this is why me and Justin's relationship grows so much, and why why our relationship grows so much. I feel like it doesn't like hit walls or get stagnant, because we always prioritize our own individual growth first, and we take that into the relationship. So, like, you know, I still have time. Like, I don't do things that Justin wants me to do unless I want to do them, and vice versa. And we give each other that permission. Like, we allow each other to put ourselves first, and we make that our priority, because we know, like, if we're out of alignment, we're shitty partners for that. Like,
Exactly.
You know? And we're also not happy, because it's like, and that's not, we don't blame each other for that. We're like, hey, like last night, Justin was like, hey, you want to go to like this mountain house with my friend and like my friends in town? And I was like, you know, that would be awesome. Like, I would love to be, you know, hang out with your friend. Like, I haven't met him that many times, but I'm really tired. I'm just gonna stay home. You go do whatever you want to do. Have fun, and love you. And I'm just like, I'm gonna listen to myself and stay home. You know, like, just be, you know, Justin.
And that's a great point, because that is those little things. Those little things are so important in relationships. Those little things that you might not think are a big deal, but they add up. You know, just for example, like, let's say she would have gone not wanting to go, and she would have went, and then we get to this mountain house. It's like 35 minutes away, and she doesn't really know this guy that well, and me and him start shooting the shit. And all of a sudden, it's like 3 in the morning.
And then I get resentful.
And she wants to go home, and I'm like, baby, come on, I haven't seen him in a while. We're talking about old times, glory days, all this kind of shit, whatever. And I'm like, you know, saying this, and she's all of a sudden resentful. We get home, and those are the little things that happen in relationships that when we don't address them, when we don't, and it doesn't mean you have to tell your partner, like, fuck you, you're an asshole. It just means, like, being really knowing who you are and telling your feelings, and knowing that your feelings matter. You matter. What's something else we do?
And prioritizing yourself and letting your partner do the same, and not like shaming them for it or being like, you're a selfish asshole. Because like a lot of people, and I think that this is a really great transition to talk about like healthy love. What does a healthy relationship look like, right? And healthy relationship in my mind is a relationship that is really satisfying, really balanced. It's still satisfying, yeah, and also sustainable, right? So like, I think that, you know, Justin and I, what we're really good at is knowing that, like, in all of our relationships, and especially ours, that you need to put yourself first, and also knowing that doesn't make you a bad person, that doesn't make you selfish, that doesn't make you shitty, right? And also giving each other permission to do the same, and not giving other people, not making our happiness so out of our control.
Exactly. Right? And this brings me to a great point. Trusting the love of the relationship. Because, like, sometimes you can think, oh, does this person, you know, really like me, or, you know, like, want to be with me, or want to hang out with me, and all this kind of stuff that they keep telling me no or whatever. But when you trust that the love is there, you know that, like, my favorite thing in the world is to hang out with Gianna. Like, I love Gianna. I do a lot of other things too, like, you know, stand-up poetry. I'm doing a lot of stuff, but, you know, I love to hang out with Gianna. And when Gianna trusts that, it makes me want to hang out with Gianna, and time just opens up for us to hang out.
And I don't feel insecure when we don't.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times when you trust the love that we are going to get to spend time together. Like, this person does love me. It's crazy how that freedom, giving the person space to grow and be their own alignment, leads to so much time together, because that is your first choice.
And it's not, and that time together isn't like obligated, and it's not like a chore. It's something that it's like you want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, Justin will want to hang out with me. One, like, I'm really amazing, worthy of love.
Exactly.
But two, like, love is who Justin is. Love is who we all are, and it's logical that Justin would want to love me.
Yeah.
He wants to love everyone, but especially like me, because I'm awesome. I'm amazing.
Yeah, and you're my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, of course, Justin wants to hang out with me, right?
And also, like, and just trusting your partner. Like, I think Gianna did. I think Gianna did amazing that job dropping that coaster right there. But no, I think what Gianna does an amazing job of, because Gianna is a lot better, and was too, I feel like, about working from inspired action. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for a long time I had this thing inside of me that was telling me to push. Yeah, in my business. Work. And what that did was, drain me, and we're just not a good place to work from. And I've, recently, in the past year or so, I've climb mountains and that. I feel like I do work from inspired action most of the time, and everything's great. But Gianna was there for me. I sometimes we got in a couple fights about that, but you were there for me, knowing that even though it seemed like I wanted to do this work and stuff and be like, I have to do this, I have to do that, knowing that I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah, seeing you as capable.
Seeing me as capable, and knowing that I'm going to figure this out, and knowing that, like, love is who we are. Exactly. So what I want to do is I want to spend time with my love. Yeah, maybe there's some pressure on me, but at the end of the day, that pressure is bullshit. And I'm going to find my way back to that love, because love is who I am.
Yeah.
And that's such a healthy thing to do. Is, of course, if your partner gets a little out of whack with it, it's important to, say things, and you did that too.
Yeah, be honest. But also, like, I'm not, if Justin, like, kind of gets weird with something, and it happens to both of us sometimes, whatever, doesn't matter, whatever it's about. But it's like, I don't make Justin's individual journey, like, I don't take that personally, I don't take that on. I don't need Justin to change what he's doing in order to make me feel better. And if I do, I typically manifest more problems through Justin, right? So, like, I think that, that's another really important thing in relationships. And I feel like, which is to see each other as capable, knowing that, like, everybody is the creator of their own reality, and they have their own desires and they have these desires that they are being guided to by their inner being. And you are not your partner's inner being. You do not know better what is best for your partner better than they do. And I think it's so important to know that. And I think it's so important to practice that, and vice versa, and to really trust yourself in a relationship. And I think that, it's also very important, because then you no longer feel obligated to save or coddle your partner when you really see them as capable, whether that's emotionally, financially, or whatever it is, right? It's like, that's, really, when we overgive from this place of obligation, whether that's, with time, attention, affection, money, whatever, we're overgiving, and we're not prioritizing. We're just not giving stuff that we actually want to give. Like, we want, like, stuff that's for us, like our time, our energy that we want to give to ourselves. And because we love each other, we think this is like what love is supposed to be. Like, oh, if I love this person, I'm gonna help them, I'm gonna care for them. But I think it's so important to know that, like, you don't help people, and you're not. If you really love someone, you really want to truly help them, and you don't truly help someone when you try and save them and view them as capable, because you're teaching them, hey, you can't do this.
Exactly.
And that's not a helpful thing, and that's not how to create, a healthy relationship where you feel truly free and not an obligation, and where your partner, and where you attract a partner that's really capable and that does dating.
Exactly. And that brings me to two great parts. Where one is, I would just like to clear this up because this came up, and I feel like this is a good thing. I had a client recently who was telling me like, "Oh, my business is going well. I really want love, but I don't want to make my business take away from my business, right? I want love, but my business is going well. I don't have time. And what if I stop? What if I start giving all this energy to my lover and the business goes shitty? So that's just something that I feel like is healthy love. And I think that healthy love is your business, whatever you're doing, is only going to thrive in a healthy relationship. And I feel like Gianna and I both stuff businesses have been thriving because our relationship only adds amazingness to who we are.
Instead of like taking away
from it. And I feel like that's another what healthy love looks like to me, where your everything in your life just gets better. Your relationships with your family, your relationships with life in general, everything just gets better because you have this amazing mirror of perfection to really shine this light into you and expand your heart even more. And I feel like my heart just keeps opening up to everyone because I'm so in love with this one person.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a great example of healthy love.
Yeah. And I feel like when you give other people the permission to put themselves first, and you do that with yourself, and you see other people as capable, that really, those like basic rules, really, if you can implement them into day-to-day things, like, do I want to go with my boyfriend somewhere? Do I want to do this, or do I want to spend some time alone, or do I not? Then that over time really creates a relationship that feels very free, aligned, and inspired because you're aligned predominantly, and so the relationship, and so you're a vibrational match to your partner being predominantly aligned, and then so your relationship is always inspired and free, and it's not obligated, and so you want to show up, you want to love, you want to be with a person that you think is really awesome. So it's like you do that, but it's like it's from the right place. It's not for the wrong reason. It's from the wrong place, and so the relationship just thrives and feels really good. And I feel like when you're constantly maintaining that alignment within yourself, then it's like the relationship never gets dull. It never gets boring because it's like there is an infinite flow of love and well-being that is being flowed to you just because you're a part of God, just because you're a part of Source. And as long as you're always connecting to that and you're making that your number one priority, then it's like you always feel really effing good in a relationship.
Yes. You always feel really great with yourself, and this person that you're with, you love so much and you reflect so much and you grow so deep together. I mean, what better can be, and the relationship just gets better and better and better every day.
Because
you get so.
Yeah. Sorry. I was going to say, like, especially because, as you grow within yourself, you explore new depths within yourself.
Yeah.
And so when you give your partner space to do the same, you inevitably come together from this new expanded place, and then you take the relationship to that new expanded.
Exactly, like the Gianna and I 3 years ago is like nothing compared to the Gianna we are now.
Yeah, I feel like the us 3 years ago was definitely like a way more conscious relationship than like a normal relationship, right?
Well, yeah.
But it's like now, holy shit.
Exactly, and it just keeps growing. And that's another sign of a healthy relationship where you and your partner, there's this really stupid thing. It's like, oh, we've been married for 20 years. I hate my wife, and all this kind of stuff that people say.
We haven't had sex in 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. This like society bullshit that they put in your head.
I don't know why. I just did this really weird lip thing.
Yeah, no, it was good. I liked it. And you spit in my face like too.
I'm sorry.
But and I just find that so silly. Like, why would you be with someone who is making you feel shitty, who you don't like to be with? Like, I hate my wife. We don't get along. Of course, yeah, I get things come in the way, but I just feel like that's not a healthy relationship.
It's not.
And
and you can make a relationship last, but it doesn't mean that it's a relationship that you really want to make last. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want this relationship to last forever. Like, I love her so much. I want this to just go and go and go. And it feels so beautiful every day. There's no thing where it's like, oh, I don't know if my wife's gonna let me do this. Let me ask her. And oh no, you gotta hang out with the wife. She wants me to go shopping. Like, I love.
Ask your inner being. What does it say?
I love going shopping with Gianna. Like, I love doing everything with her because I'm in love with her, and it's awesome. So I just feel like letting go of these misconceptions. And another thing that I would write down, which is really great, is, and maybe we could write all this down for you and give you some kind of great sheet at the end of the thing. I'm down for that. I'd love to do that. But another great thing is not putting your partner down. And I see this. I'm not saying you guys have a do this, but in so many relationships, I talk to people who talk about their partners in this really negative light. And it's like, this person, oh, she's a crazy bitch, or he's an asshole and he can't do shit. And I'm like, just like, why are you guys together? Like, I would never imagine.
Oh, you mean because you love each other? We'll talk more about that.
Yeah, I would never imagine talking about Gianna in that way at all. Like, and I don't ever want to put her down. Even like a thing that I guess has been coming up lately for some reason is like Gianna takes a long time to get ready or something.
Which I don't think is true.
And it's fine, and it's not even about
like
true or false. I don't want to say that. That doesn't feel good to even say that. It doesn't feel good to say any kind of negative thing about her because it's not how I feel. I'm in love with her. So any kind of like putting her down in any sort of way that she can't do something, that she sucks at basketball. I mean, we play basketball together. Like, every time we play together, I pass the ball to Gianna and I expect the ball to go in.
Well, I think it's like, because it's like love is who we really are, and once you get really connected to that, it doesn't feel good to like view people in a way that Source does not view them in.
Exactly.
Source does not see people as incapable. Source does not think your boyfriend is an asshole.
Or a loser, or a dipshit,
or does not think your girlfriend is
or a cuck, or whatever people call each other these days. I don't know. But it doesn't see that. It sees the person as just, wow, I love this person.
Who they really are.
Yeah. I don't see Gianna as like, even when her business wasn't really going well when she first started, I don't want to say not going well, it's always going great.
In the early stages.
In the early stages, I always knew, like, I remember when Gianna told me that she wanted to be a relationship coach, I was like, I'll help you pay if first couple months you don't have rent, I'll help you pay rent. Because like, I just knew, I felt so, Gianna is so capable. I know how brilliant she is as a person. Like, Gianna is the most brilliant person I've ever met in my life. I believe that. I feel that. And I knew that she was going to be great at it. I knew she was going to be successful. I just knew it. I didn't know it was going to be this successful so quickly, honestly. But I knew she was going to be great at it.
I did.
Because I know who she is. And I just knew it. And that's another side. It's like, I really believe in this person. And I watch her do her best. And if that's the place that I want. It's like when you want, this is another great thing to write down if you would feel this. I want everything to work out for Gianna. I love her so much. That's my desire. My biggest desire is to see her in the light of love and to honor her in every single way. And when I don't do that, I feel I'm letting myself down. I feel like I'm letting the universe down. And that doesn't feel good. So that's why it feels so great to really cherish this person and see this person for who they are through the eyes of Source.
Yeah, and I think this is something, not typically exactly, because I mean, this stuff that we're teaching you guys really creates an awesome, sustainable, relationship with your soulmate for sure. But this is stuff we can also apply in other relationships as well. Like, I don't just apply this in my relationship with Justin. Like, I apply this in my friendship. I apply this in my family relationship where I'm like, hey, where I stay true to myself and I put myself first and I let them put themselves first and all of that stuff, right? And so because of that, you know, this is stuff that I feel like, because I mean, your parents are like your first loves, and that's what I always like to say, or your parental figures, or whoever raised you. Maybe it's a brother or a sister. But you know, that was something I used to do with my mom a lot. I would just constantly tell this negative story about her. And so my experiences with her were always negative, and my feelings about her were predominantly negative. And as I got more responsible for my own feelings and my own happiness, that slowly kind of went away. And I just began focusing more on like what was true. Like, hey, no, my mom's not this, and this. She's amazing. She is source. She is love. She is capable, right? And so the more and more I told that story, the more and more I experienced really awesome things with my mom. And you know, that's something to take into your romantic relationships, but also any relationship. Like, it doesn't serve anyone to throw this negativity on them, right? And like, maybe you can think of a time where somebody has thrown negativity on you, or where somebody has thrown really positive energy onto you. Like, the difference in what it inspires from you, right? Like, if a really successful relationship coach came up to me and she's like a billionaire or something, and she's like, Tiana, I really see this in you, right? I know you can definitely be at my level. I'd be like, wow, right? And that would be awesome. But if somebody was kind of coming at me, or if that same person was like, you know, wow, Gianna, like, what are you doing? You suck, right? I would be like, ooh, right? It's like how you perceive other people, it matters. And it plays a role in like what you experience from other people, because even if somebody's only an asshole like 2% of the time, if you're telling that story about a really awesome person that they're an asshole, like, you're only gonna run into them and only gonna feel inspired to call them in the 2% of their lifetime where they feel like being an asshole, right? Like 98% of the time, like, I'm fucking sunshine and unicorns, right? Like, I'm a human, and so not always like that. I'm not always like that. So, you know, if somebody starts telling this negative story about me, chances are I'm gonna feel inspired to call them when I just wanna shit on somebody's life. But you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to manifest that out of other people, and you don't have to manifest that out of your partner. And I think it's so important to, even if you experience some kind of like negative aspect of your partner, just remember that and focus on the good that is there, and, you know, tell the truth about them, because the truth is we're all love. We are all so capable, and we are all being guided.
So I have a great question that just came up that I feel maybe can come up in somebody's mind is, where is the line between seeing someone is capable all the time and feeling like the relationship is not working out?
Well, I feel like, and this is what I tell my clients too, because I've had people in this exact situation. So like, I think that when you're pushing against what you don't want and you leave the relationship from there, that's not necessarily that productive, in the sense where if you don't shift the energy within you, you're just going to manifest the same scenario with somebody else, or a very similar scenario. And it's like, you're the creator of your own reality. So like, what I always recommend is, like, before leaving the relationship, or if you're really, really that miserable, you can leave the relationship, but still work on that energy. Whatever within you is a vibrational match to that, right? Like, so when Justin was thinking like, wow, Gianna takes a long time to get ready or whatever. So like, that originally happened, first came up when we were going to go meet his parents, and they were, I would drop him off and he was late, and his dad got mad at him, and I felt this guilt. I blamed myself, and Justin wasn't rude to me at all, really before that much. And then the next morning, Justin was kind of putting this pressure on me of like, hurry up. And I didn't feel like I was taking long at all, but like, I felt like that pressure made me go even slower, and it was like, it just like scattered me and made me feel like, what do I have to do? Gotta take my dog out. Crap, what am I doing? Which kind of made me feel even slower. And
that's brilliant. That's the law of attraction.
Right. Yeah. So like, you're not wanting to be slow, but you're
because I remember calling you and I wasn't mad. I was just like, my dad just flipped out on me.
Yeah, and so
And then you
I
felt bad
guilty.
about it.
I felt guilty. I blamed myself.
Yeah.
And so I attracted Justin blaming me, right? So like Justin was like the next day when we went to go meet his parents for breakfast, he's like hurry up kind of thing. Like he wasn't like, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I just remember being like so defensive about it. But I was, you know, and I think that this is a really great opportunity to kind of talk about these intimacies and getting over fights quickly because you know, part of me just wanted to be like, screw you, Justin, get away from me. And although I kind of gave him a little bit of that energy at first, like, no, stop, get away from me. Like, don't talk to me like that. You know, I just decided when we were driving to meet his parents, I was like, I don't like this. And I dropped the bullshit and I was like, you know, I'm sorry. I'm just being defensive because I really just blame myself and I feel guilty. And so having you kind of feel like, at least me feeling like you're blaming me just makes me feel even worse about myself. And so that's all I did. And Justin was like, you know, that instantly just like broke away the bullshit and the defense mechanisms. And Justin was just like, wow, thank you for being honest. Like, I totally get it. I'm sorry. You know, like I'm just taking on this pressure from my dad. And like the moment like that I was ready to stop like blaming myself, I was able to be honest with Justin. And then it's like I manifested this new reaction from him.
Yeah, and then we got to breakfast, and my parents weren't upset. They were really happy, and they bought us breakfast. It was nice.
It was a really delicious breakfast.
Yeah, and I love that you know, keeping the intimacy going in relationships.
I feel like sharing your inner world.
Sharing your inner world is so intimate, and also just loving each other. I feel like I used to have this ex-girlfriend who would want to have makeup sex a lot. So she would start these fights for maybe no reason. I don't know. And then she would be like, let's have makeup sex.
Well, that was like the only way she knew how to open up with it.
Yeah. And then like, you know, being crazy and mean to me didn't really turn me on.
Well, let's say crazy meaning like guarded.
Or I don't want to use right. Crazy is not the nicest word to use.
I mean, that's how it comes off, but it's like crazy isn't just crazy.
You're right. Yeah.
Right?
Being, you know, whatever to me wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go. Being mean to me, we can say that. That was a nice word. Being mean didn't turn me on. It doesn't. Being defensive and mean, yeah, not being in her heart doesn't turn me on. Like I want to have, and I have to do a stand-up joke. I want to have everything's cool. I love you all the time sex, and that's the sex that Gianna and I have. And it's really great, and it's really awesome, and it's just I don't really feel really, and maybe we will at some point in time get more intimate and explore other situations with other people. I don't know, but I don't really feel that led to it just because like I really enjoy Gianna. Like I really love Gianna more than I love anyone else. So I want to have sex with her more than I love anyone else. And I want to have that intimate sex. And I feel like people who, and this is back to the thing we were talking about at first, is I feel like people talk about like, you know, oh, how can you have sex with the same person for 30 years? Like it's boring, you know, same set of balls. I don't know why that made me laugh, but I'll go with it. But it doesn't. Like I feel like if you really love that person, this sex never gets boring. It's always
like you're exploring. You know, I feel like sex is about so much more than like, oh, how big is your dick? Like,
yeah.
You know, oh, how many times did you like rub my clit or whatever? Like,
yeah.
It's about the emotion. It's about the mindset, and like when you're infinitely exploring your sensuality and your own depth as a soul that is infinitely expanding, it's like the sexual experiences and the emotional experiences in your relationship just are always fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And it just doesn't, I don't know, I'm not saying that it will or won't happen, but it just doesn't really feel, I don't feel led to that. Yeah, and I remember
I mean, it's something I'm definitely open to. Like, I'm not a prude, you know what I mean? But like, it's not something that I feel guided to.
And I just remember, like, I had the girlfriend that I dated for a while before Gianna, who I learned a lot of great things from. When our relationship was going really well, I remember this girl wanting to have a threesome with us. It was like my girlfriend's friend. I was like, I'm good.
So that was
Catherine.
Yeah.
So somebody was like, hey, let's have a threesome. And I was like, no, I mean, not really, I don't really need to. And the girl was attractive, and if, you know, there's the part of me that likes porn, would definitely be down for that,
Like
and
a
would enjoy it, sexual thing. But at the time, I didn't want to. And then I remember maybe like when our relationship was really shitty, like down the road when we disconnected from our soul and we hated each other on some level, I was like, damn, I should have fucked those two girls at the same time. That would have been cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, not coming from that place of love. And I just feel like that intimacy is just so easy and so natural and so beautiful when you are in that energy within yourself. And I feel like finding little loving tricks that will come with the relationship when you trust it. Like, take for example, this might be something silly, but to me, I really like. I have like a little joke name for Gianna, and sometimes I call her Cheese, right? And I'll be like, "You're being cheese." And when maybe she's doing something that I disagree with or something, I don't know. It's a little silly, but what I say with that is like I don't ever really get angry. Can't remember the last time I really got angry, but because I say cheese, right? So it makes me feel like I
Well, I
love
feel like the cheese word is like your way of being like light and playful.
light and
you're
playful.
Not, because you're not like allowing me to fuck with you if I'm being weird or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you being in your power.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like in the relationship, when you're in that power, even things that could fuck with you, you know, or like when the person's not being the way, and you're just like, baby, you're being cheese. You know, it doesn't feel like, you know, oh, she's a bitch is a word that people use. I don't like to use that word, but people,
hearing that word.
yeah, it's not a good word, but people will be like, oh, she's being a bitch or he's being a dick. But it's like when you can love someone, you find ways and avenues to find the best way to say things to someone that you don't go into that, because there's a different word between bitch, she's being a bitch, oh, you're such a bitch, compared to, oh, you're being, sorry.
It's okay.
But you can just feel it before you're being cheese. Oh, she's being cheese.
Well,
no, I'm not saying cheese is the nicest thing to say to somebody, but it's like when you're in that intimate space, when you have that intimacy connection, you just naturally find ways to deepen it, right, and ways to not go out of it.
Well, I think, you know, like whenever there's something going on, like if Justin does something that I don't completely like or agree with, and I'm like, I kind of ask myself, like, okay, why do I need Justin to change or for me to feel better? Why is it stirring me? Why is it bothering me? And if something is really happening that I don't, and I can't even think of anything specific off the top of my head, but like, I think like
water on the floor.
Okay, no, my mind went to actually the beginning of our relationship when I felt like we were getting really busy and we weren't spending that much time together over the phone when we were long distance. I felt, you know, and I was really bothered and felt kind of resentful. When I kind of asked myself, like when I was like, okay, what is this triggering from within me? Because I know at the end of the day, like I create my own reality. And so like if Justin is doing something that I don't like, there's a part of me that is a vibrational match to it, right? And either I need to shift my perspective about it or I need to shift an energy within me to not manifest that through him anymore. But you know, by reflecting on that energy though and shifting it, I know from there whether whether this is actually a big deal or not. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And when I shift it within me, I either get over it and I don't really care about it anymore, so I don't need it to change, or it changes if it's something that really matters, right? And so, yeah, like, so getting over things, getting over fights and, you know, weird things that you manifest in your love life is so important. Like, yeah, be authentic, share your feelings, share your perspective, talk about things. But at the end of the day, like, you can't make your partner be your solution. You need to shift what within you is a vibrational match to this thing. And how I do that every single time is I check in, like, what is this triggering for me? What is my response to this?
That's great.
Because this is what I need to deal with in order to not create this in my partner anymore.
That is so awesome, Beth.
Thank you. And this is like what I've always done in our relationship.
I feel like a great way to say that, sorry to cut you off, but I feel like a great way to say that is to say, it's never personal, but you're attracting it. So it's not personal. Like if I get mad at Gianna, let's say I'm mad about some dumb shit about something, who knows, and I take it out on Gianna, where, you know, I'm like, what the fuck, you let.
Okay, like even just like the example that we were talking about with your parents. Like
Yeah.
when I felt guilty.
Exactly.
It had nothing to do with me. Like,
Yeah, and exactly. I was mad because I felt bad because my dad got mad at me, right?
You
or
didn't want
whatever.
your dad to get mad at you.
And I didn't want my dad to
nothing
get mad at me, so I took it out on Gianna. But because Gianna was a match to it. So it wasn't personal. It wasn't like I sit around, you know, mad writing stories about how Gianna, it takes a long time.
Not Gianna's true.
Yeah, but exactly. But it was, she attracted it. And one thing that I would like to talk about.
Are you grabbing something?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's funny. One thing I would like to talk about.
One thing he would like to talk about. Just walks away. Okay. All right.
It's something that's really on my heart. And this kind of goes back to what I had this book of poetry published or whatever. Gianna published it for me. And it's called Love Poems That Manifest My Soulmate. And the reason why I'm sharing that is, one, you know, I'm really happy about it. But two, I feel like what I did to really attract Gianna into my life is I wrote poems, right? I wrote from my soul. And like this first poem is called Spiritual Soulmate. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's really long, but it just says like, I desire to hear you sing off key in an apple orchard. I want to play footsie with you at a dinner party, kiss you in a waiting line at a grocery store. And I feel like, and this kind of goes back to the first thing we talked about, I'm sorry if I got a little off topic, but it just felt inspired, is expressing your deepest desire is such a way to get that relationship that you want. I'm not saying you have to write poetry, but I'm saying like
owning your desire.
Yeah, owning your desire. To find your soulmate, you must know what is in your soul. So I wrote this poem probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's 9 years ago, before Gianna, I even thought about Gianna, before I knew Gianna's existence. But Gianna was out there hearing this poem. Gianna was out there listening to this poem I wrote, right? This is really beautiful. This is really powerful. I said, I want to know why I'm so beautiful standing next to you. You know, it's just, how do I feel? What do I want in a relationship? What do I want? And it was just this inspired desire. And to know what is in your soul, you must be willing to express those deepest desires and know that they're not silly. They're not, don't invalidate yourself. That if you want a relationship, whatever you want, you can have it.
And I think something, and this is, I've noticed more women doing this than men, but a lot of women think that like, if they need to be okay with not having a relationship, and they, you know, and these women typically struggle with codependency, where they don't really know how to find that perfect middle of being emotionally available yet not clingy.
Oh, beautiful! I
so
love
like,
this. Great.
You know, you're like, okay, in order to not be clingy and pathetic, like I need to just be happy alone, and I'm so happy alone. I don't need anybody. I don't need anything.
Yeah,
but I think,
fuck a man. Yeah.
But I think it's so important.
Men do that too.
Yeah, I guess I do that too. But I guess I just need to work more with women, obviously. So, and I just did this myself as a woman in the past, and I think it's so important to, you know, be happy alone, yes, but it's okay to be like, hey, I still want that, but not coming from a place of like, without it, I feel shit.
Exactly.
And that's the difference. That's the line. Like,
Gianna broke up with me in our relationship for about a month and a half. And
it wasn't quite a month and a half.
Whatever. It was probably
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But anyway, for a while she broke up with me. And I remember getting dumped and being like, that sucks, right? But I remember being like, damn, there's a lot of untapped potential in our relationship. And basically I didn't call her up and I wasn't like, you bitch, take my number out of your phone. Sorry. I'll use another word.
Yeah,
you cunt. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. I mean, sorry. But I wasn't angry. I wasn't mad. I wasn't like saying these mean words. I'm saying that I wasn't saying these things. Right. I didn't call her. I wasn't yelling at her. I wasn't like, take your number out of my, you know, don't ever call me again. Yeah, don't ever talk to me again. I was just really like, okay, well, she broke up with me. I still want to be with her. All right, well, I want to be with her. And it wasn't like I'm lost without her. You know, I didn't, you know, I don't know. Anyway, I wasn't lost without her. I was still Justin. I was still the wonderful person that I am. Not as cool because I hadn't dated her for 2 years. And yeah, since then she made me so much cooler as a person. But
you've done the same for me.
I didn't go into that story. I was just honest about what I want. I wasn't mad at her. I wasn't like, you suck. I was just like, you broke up with me. That sucks because I want to be with you. Right? And I feel like when you can come from that place, there's so much power in it. There's this great song by Ryan Adams called Winding Will. And he says, wear a pretty dress. Wear it out tonight. See if for all the boys you think can outdo me. Or better still, be my winding will. And what to me that means is exactly that. Like owning what you want, knowing how powerful you are, but not going into that defensive, oh, you don't want me, well, I don't want you. Because that's not the truth. The truth is
people only do that when they're like when their desire is like coming from this needy lack place, and fully owning that desire feels bad because it's focusing on lack instead of
exactly.
Like I'm already full and I want it.
And when you own that desire, it's so powerful, it's so beautiful. It's like that is what every single person in the world wants. Is that person within that owns it. And that's why people love people who are cool, love people who don't give a shit, love people who are owning who they are, because that's what everyone wants in a relationship. They just want someone to do that. And when you can do that for yourself, everybody in some aspect is going to want you. Every person, I'm not saying it's not going to be cool. You see what I'm saying, right? I'm making sense. It's not like everybody's going to be in love with you, but
because everybody just has
different preferences, but people are going, it's like, wow.
You're gonna attract people on your vibe.
Exactly. You're going to attract that amazing person because you're being it. And it's like I said at the beginning, the relationship is a byproduct of how happy you already are. Yes, I am a billion times happier with Gianna because I'm so in love with her, but I'm still happy alone, and it's like I'm still go do my thing, and I don't, I miss Gianna, but it's never from a place of like, I'm lost without you. It's like I miss you because I'm in love with you because you're beautiful. And I don't run away from the missing. I'm just like, I love her. I miss her. It feels good. And
also, I think like, it's important. Oh my God, I think I lost my train of thought. But hold on.
Yeah.
You keep talking.
So it's just really important to own yourself, own your love and your feelings, and being okay with being vulnerable. I think I'm a really awesome person. I think that I'm really intelligent. I don't want to forget. But the only thing that I've ever been good at all my life, and I mean, right now I'm really good at a lot of things, but it's just really what I've had to step up on the rest of the world that I feel like is being able to be vulnerable. Be authentic and being and not really caring if somebody says, I mean, maybe it's not going to feel good, but putting myself out there with people in relationships.
And that's something I've always wanted in a partner. And when I finally got into a vibration like that, and it's
exactly. And not being afraid to be who I am and say how I feel and not go into the feeling of like, oh, you did this to me, well, I hate you. It's just being, that's not actually how I really feel. I really love you. You don't want to be with me. That sucks for me. But things are going to work out for me because I feel good and I love who I am.
I think that, and this is what I wanted to say, like that, I think at any time I fall out of, because Justin was saying like, yeah, I'm happy alone, and the relationship amplifies that and awesome, but without it, I'm still happy. And anytime, I think it's important to know that like that's an illusion that the relationship is going to make you feel really happy. Because I promise you, like if you're not maintaining your personal alignment in the relationship isn't going to feel that good, and you're not going to be able to recognize how good the relationship is because you're not in the vibrational vicinity of recognizing the true vibration of the relationship. And so, I kind of want to touch on, a bit of healthy communication in a relationship, and then I think we should go into the Q&A. Okay. So, like, I think that in the process of being in a really awesome, conscious, deep, ever evolving and expanding relationship, things are going to come up and you want to, hopefully by now you know how to handle them, right, from this training. But so like, I think the point in being really authentic and being really vulnerable with people, especially your romantic partner, it's not necessarily to make anything happen, although it can be a productive catalyst to just be intimate for your own, yeah, just a productive catalyst in your own, moving through or something. But I think that why I really love to be authentic, yeah, you're so welcome. Just ask any questions that you have in the box and we can answer them on the recording for you. Or you can do it in the group afterwards, whatever you have time for. So
yeah,
I was just gonna say that I think being intimate, why I like to be just totally authentic and open and real in the relationship is not to get anything or out of it. It's just because it feels good to share my inner world, because it's who I really am, and it feels good to be so really comfortable and self-loving in all of my emotions, and have and once I really accepted my emotions, which took me a while to do, and know that they were totally normal, highs and the lows, then I attracted somebody like Justin that really knows that too, and gives me space for any of my fears that comes up, and really gives me a lot of love and compassion along the way. But it's like, I feel like that creates a deeper intimacy between Justin and I, and it's like me and Justin feel like each other's best friends, and we have this like really close, deep, intimate bond and connection. And it's because I let Justin in to the deepest parts of myself, and he does the same for me. And we talk about things that most people would be afraid and ashamed to talk about and admit, but we've admitted these things and we've made peace with them.
And anytime they come up, I can just be like I had this thing come up from like years ago that I felt bad about the other night. I just told Gianna, and she was like, "Oh, it's okay." And it's just like anything that comes up, I can just like kind of tell it to her, and it just goes away. It transforms, and that is that powerful love that just feels really good. And I have no fear of saying anything to her, no matter how fucking weird it might be or how it could be taken by someone else. And that's the beautiful, intimate thing of our relationship that we get to share that no one else gets to share with us, is that beautiful intimacy and trust that we have. And a thing that I would like to touch on real quick is that a lot of people like, can I trust you in a relationship? Can I trust you? Can I trust you? Can I trust you? But when you trust yourself,
can I trust you to make me feel safe or comfortable?
Exactly. When you trust yourself, because having to trust someone is giving them power.
Giving away yours.
Giving away yours. Exactly. And can I trust you? It doesn't matter. Like, I don't give, like, of course I can trust her, but that's not even trust is never a thing that even comes in my mind with Gianna. And because there's nothing to trust.
I trust myself.
Exactly. Once you trust yourself and you trust you're on that high flying disc, you're on that high vibe, that all that stuff is going to work out because that's what you're attracting. And that's how amazing life is. And I would love to say, I just want to say, I want everyone, when I work with clients, I really want, maybe I'll get over this as I do it more, but I really want everybody to feel great. I really want everybody to feel that aha moment, and I want everybody to come get what they came to get. And I think we did a great job of saying a lot of awesome stuff and really, pouring our hearts out and being loving and a lot of tips, and maybe we'll go back and really kind of make it more.
I think it was great.
I mean, I think it was great too, but I might do that. I feel like it's good. A lot of good tips to kind of, we had like 3 different like kind of aspects that we talked about that we said we were going to talk about. We covered that. But here's the thing, is that anything that you have that, and you can write this for everybody who just watches it, the training who didn't come, whatever you have, be honest with it right now. Ask the question, whatever you're going through, and we want to give you the best insight possible that we can, so you can transform that, and so it doesn't have to come up anymore.
Yeah, I want to cover a little bit more around communication real quick.
Okay.
But feel free to ask any questions you have right now in the chat. and we will answer them afterwards. But so I just wanted to say, like, I think it's really beautiful, like as I was saying, like communicating authentically, because it creates intimacy, and it's also and that's why I feel like a big reason why we're so close, like we're just always so authentic and so deep and so vulnerable, and we don't rely on each other to validate each other, even though Justin probably would give me that validation. I feel like the only reason I manifested a partner that would is because I started validating myself before Justin ever came into my life. Meaning, I held space for myself to express my emotions. I didn't need another person to hold this safe space for me. I provided that for myself. I made myself feel safe. I normalized my emotions. I loved myself. And that made me not really need that from other people. And so that allowed me to be able to do that in my relationship with Justin, right? But like, if me and Justin have a fight and something comes up, as we kind of talked about earlier, like, reflect on your part, what was in me is a vibrational match to this in you, right? But in the process, like, I like to be pretty open for the most part with Justin. And so I'm like, hey, when we're communicating or when I'm perceiving something about Justin that's like, that I have a problem with for whatever reason, I do my best when communicating with him to never, ever, ever invalidate his feelings, because
Beautiful.
what's true
Write
for
that
Justin,
down. Invalidating feelings.
Because what's true for Justin, even if it's not true in my perception, doesn't make it untrue for him, because in his perception, based on his beliefs and his thoughts and his reality, it's very true for him.
Exactly.
So it's like, to come at somebody and tell them that they're wrong or invalidate them in some way is not a productive
ever. To be intimate. If Gianna was walking down the street and looked at a tree and said, "That's a big popsicle stick," I'd be like, I don't know, it looks like a tree to me. And she's like, "No, it's a popsicle stick." I'd be like, "All right, popsicle stick." And she's like, "I'm gonna go lick it." I'd be like, "All right, go lick it."
To me, it looks like a tree, but I guess it looks like a popsicle stick.
And if she licks it and it's like, "Oh, it's a tree," I'd be like, but it's like invalidating the person is such a. I have these two clients who are in a relationship and they invalidate each other, or one of them invalidates the other person a lot. And that little invalidation right there is causing the rift in the relationship. Like, yeah, maybe the person comes from left field with some things, but the moment the invalidation starts happening, the person feels bad. And we have to remember, and I would write this down really, really intensely, is love. Love is everything. Our relationship is made out of love. Our relationship is made out of love. So when you come to your person, I'm not saying I'm 100% perfect with this. I'm not saying Gianna is either, but we want to come.
I feel like we're pretty great at it.
We're pretty great at it. No, I'm definitely saying we're pretty great at it. You want to come with love with the person. Of course, when you're in your emotions, not every time you can do that, but you want to say, you don't want to blame the person for things. You want to sit back and you want to be like, okay, or if you, "Hey baby, I love you, you're so beautiful." Just saying something like that first, kind of easing any kind of defense there.
But I mean, I feel like, as long as you're not going into something feeling guilty about what you're saying, you're not going to attract this. You typically won't attract this defense.
That's true.
Because it's like, it's what your vibrational match to. And I think you should never feel shamed or like you have to walk around anybody's feelings. But, I totally get what you're saying. And I think it's important to not invalidate each other. But something I want to say is, like, when you're communicating with someone, especially in your relationship, I think it's so important to not be defensive. And this is something that we're both really great at. And this is like being willing and being secure enough within yourself to where you can handle what somebody else is perceiving of you, and check in with yourself and say, like, "Hey, am I doing this right?" And if Justin's like, "Hey, Gianna, like, I think you might be having some fear right now, like, or are you coming from fear, or like, what do you think?" And I'll check in with myself and be like, am I? And if I am, I'll be like, "Yeah, I guess I kind of am," like, blah blah blah. Or if I'm not, I'll be like, no, like, I know how I feel, and I genuinely don't feel like that's what I'm feeling, right? And it's never from this place of like, I need to protect myself, or like, you can't say that about me, right? But it's like from this place of being willing to check in with ourselves, and being willing to hear feedback, and being willing to give it in a way that doesn't invalidate someone else, or needing somebody else to change to make you feel better, because that's your job.
Exactly.
And on that note, I really peace. So Say anything you want to say in the morning.
Oh, okay. What if I start with a question?
Or
do you want me to wait for you? Yeah, I feel like being. Yeah, I loved what you said there, but at the same time, also, I mean, you do what you want to do, but it's really important, I think, also to find your lover's love language. And when you love the person, it's just going to happen naturally, where you're going to want to say, "Hey, baby, I love you. You're so beautiful." You want to lift them up, and then say, "But this here." I always want, and this is just what I want. I always want to make Gianna feel safe. I mean, of course, Gianna can make her own self feel safe, and that's probably one of the reasons why I want to make her feel safe, because she feels so safe on her own. But I always want to make Gianna feel safe and loved, and let love, whatever that is to me. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to me? I want to let love be the forefront of our relationship. What is love? I want appreciation. I want clarity. I want good feelings. I want joy. I want all these wonderful things to be the forefront of our relationship. And I feel like when you want that, and you understand that, and you understand that from yourself, that you want that for yourself, that it just manifests in the world. So, I feel like that. And that's cool. I just think that, because ultimately the love we're looking for is within. The love that Gianna makes me feel, I feel because of me, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes
but
Gianna,
no matter how amazing I'm being, like, if Dustin's not receptive to the love of himself, nothing's gonna.
Exactly. So if Gianna's like, sometimes she'll be like, "I love you, baby," and I'll be like, "I love me too." Or like, "I love me," and then I'll say, "I love you," because it's me that I'm seeing. I'm so awesome at being able to see how beautiful she is. It makes me feel like love, but it's my love that I'm feeling. I'm really great at feeling love. So,
are you answering the question?
No, I'm just saying shit. Okay. We're saying awesome things. All right, so let's answer this question.
Okay, let's read it out loud.
I just want to say thank you, Jen, for asking this question. So here's the question. So I'm noticing my focus is on dating people and finding the right person. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm polyamorous, but then again, it's like, am I feeling that way because I haven't dealt with all my issues that prevent me from attracting true love and intimacy? I don't necessarily have the desire for my one person forever, but I wonder if that's because I don't actually know what it's like to have that safe, secure, intimate, true love. You guys are really good at that. Okay, thank you. That's a great fucking question. That's beautiful. Do you want to go, or do you want me to do it?
Whatever you want to do. I think that's it.
You go first.
Okay. So I think that, people can approach polyamory or monogamy from an unhealthy place. And so I wouldn't so much worry on like scrutinizing what you should do or don't do, but I would just focus on your emotional well-being and like, feeling really good and feeling really balanced and getting really intimate with yourself. And then kind of seeing like, from there, do you feel inspired to be polyamorous, or do you feel inspired to be monogamous, and who comes into your life from there and who leaves your life from there? Because, we can get a lot of, like our egos and our minds and our beliefs can get in the way and kind of tell us like, oh, this is what we should do, or maybe we should do this, or what if it looks like this, right? When that's not necessarily what is best for us. So like myself, I would definitely be like, polyamory is not something I feel like I would be willing to be polyamorous, but it's like, it's not something that I feel drawn to do from alignment at this point. That could change, I don't know, but that's not something that I feel right now. So like, if I were too much in my head about it, I would be like, well, I don't know, like, should I weigh the pros and the cons and like what makes the most sense? But it's like, the truth is, people are different and different things work for different people. But if you really get to know yourself and you really check in with yourself, like, the obvious thing for you is it's gonna be obvious for you.
Exactly. That's such a great answer. And what's coming to me right now with this, and you might want to hear it out before I there's a reason why I'm saying this. Like, when confusion can come up in relationships, and and you can say how you feel about my answer here. But I remember I had a client who was cheating, was sleeping with a married man. And sometimes she really enjoyed it, and other times she felt really bad. So she was like, what do I do? And I said, well, when you enjoy it, and when you feel bad, feel bad. So
yeah, sometimes you need to experience it.
Exactly. So your question says, I don't know if I'm, and let me see if this is right, basically saying if I'm polyamorous or if it's just because I don't know if I am, right? And what I would say is that doesn't really matter, right? We like to think about ourselves. We like to say, oh, I'm this way, I'm monogamous, I'm this, I'm that.
Put ourselves in this box.
But really, we're always changing. You know, like Gianna told me once, I'll never be with you again. That's what she said.
That's when I broke up with him.
When you broke up with me.
I was sure at the time.
And so that confusion always says a bunch of different things, right? And you can't get the solution from the problem. They're at different vibrations. That's why what Gianna said was so great. And hopefully I'm going a little more in depth with it and showing that, like, when you're in the confusion, if you're in a polyamorous thing and it's going good, cool. And if it starts to go bad, not feel good, if it doesn't feel good, be honest. Hey, this doesn't feel good. I might want monogamy now. And if the person's like, well, you just said yesterday that you didn't, that might hurt the person. Not saying it's not, I don't know. But it's all about your desire and what you want and who you are. And I feel like when we don't make it about what is this and what is that and am I good at this and am I good at that, and we just really own who we are. Like, yes, your issues are not attracting you, are not preventing you from attracting love and intimacy. I would say, like, I have issues. Gianna has issues. Just a little bit sometimes. We have issues.
I feel like I used to be like have a lot of issues, and as far as like love stuff, things can come up here or there, but not. I don't feel like I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just saying this. We've had issues. We've had issues. I'm not saying we don't. But here's what I'm gonna say, and this is I feel like really great. Feels really great to say. Issues, like I really appreciate you shared our video. That was really sweet. Basically, like Gianna said in the video, you don't want your issues to keep you from the intimacy. But one of the reasons they do is thinking that they do. Like, every person has issues, right? We all have issues. We're all fucked up, whatever, Not, whatever, at times. But those issues are actually not preventing you from getting in the relationship. They are actually assisting you into the relationship. They are actually helping you because you really bond on those issues. Like me and Gianna have really gotten closer when we're like, hey, I feel this way. And it's like, oh, well, I feel this way. Like, Gianna knows my intimate issues. And, I tell, my open heart, what's coming up now is like, yesterday, my sister got in Rolling Stone in some music video. And it made me cry. And I, for some reason, tried not to cry because I don't know why, but I let my heart, I'm not saying this is an issue, but I'm just saying, like, I came from this, like, deep heart and I just kind of let it out. And, somebody else might say, like, that's weird. You're crying because your sister was in some music video and the video was actually like a horror video. So why the fuck am I crying at that? But I was crying, and I just let it out. And then we just she was like, oh, you're crying. I love you so much. You're so sweet. And she saw my love, my intimacy, my vulnerability for my sister, my love of my family. And it brought her closer to me. She was like, oh, that's so sweet. And, she's like, I wish I cried when Jenna was successful, but I don't really like Jenna that much.
I was like, when you first started saying, I was like, I don't understand this.
She didn't say that. So
Yeah.
I did meet someone whom it felt like soulmate, but he's taking a year off of being in a relationship because he just wants to be with himself.
So it sounds like, you've maybe manifested someone that's a bit emotionally unavailable. And emotionally unavailable to me just means if you want to be with them and there's something that's out of your control on their end that's keeping them from being with you. So like, whether they have issues or they're taking a break from a relationship or they're in another relationship and they're monogamous or, they live on Mars, like, it's unavailable, right? So if you want to, and I don't want to convince him that he can work on his issues with me.
Well, okay.
I feel like, there's a difference between saying like what you feel versus thinking you're convincing someone. Because I feel like knowing your worth and knowing like that you're really worthy of love and that like being like, hey, you can work on this stuff with me and not feeling like you're being some clingy, pathetic woman for suggesting that and being in your power about it.
Exactly. Like Gianna used to kind of get upset for me because I'm a social justice warrior. And I would say things to people that she felt like I was going against the law of attraction by telling people not to be racist. Like, because people were whatever, and this, whatever. She like didn't like how I'd be like, don't think like that or whatever. But I was saying my feelings, right? And when you say your feelings, it's not convincing. It's just like I'm not convincing these people not to be who they are. I'm giving them a path to something that I feel is better, but it's not like convincing because I'm not in an argument with them. It doesn't feel like arguing. It doesn't feel bad. It feels like sharing who I am.
I feel like reading. Okay, the last part of.
So I can share my perspective.
I feel like we should be reading this out loud for the replay.
Okay. Sorry.
So after her question, she said.
Well, did we read the first part? I don't think we did.
Okay. So after the original question, she said, "So I did meet someone whom it felt like a soulmate, but he was taking a year off of being in a relationship because he just wanted to be with himself." And that's when we were like, when I was saying the emotionally available thing. And then she was like, "And I don't want to convince him that he can work on issues with me. So I can share my perspective on this with him, or should I focus on attracting someone who is emotionally available in the first place?" So I think honestly, like, and this is just how I feel intuitively, like I'm very intuitive. I feel like I want, and this is something that a lot of women feel, like this shame and being in their emotions as if that makes them these weak, pathetic, clingy creatures, right? Because there's a lot of women have shame in being too emotionally vulnerable because they're overly kind of overcompensating with like masculine energy or something because they're not empowered in their femininity in that way. And I think it's so important to be empowered in that and know that that's strong in order to share those things, and that makes you very emotionally available and that doesn't make you pathetic. And I think what I would do if I were you is I would speak your truth and I would honor your feelings and I would honor yourself, but I would not need anything from him in order to be satisfied, and I wouldn't try and make him the one. And I would focus on your alignment and whatever it is that you need to work on, which we can talk about in a one-on-one call as well. And then go like let things unfold from there with him accordingly and whoever else may come or exit your life. So that's what I would do.
And exactly. And see, this is the other thing that, and I feel like it's kind of the same answer as before on some level, because on some level all answers are the same. But you're sitting here saying, or should I just focus on attracting someone who's emotionally available in the first place? The great thing about life is you don't really have to focus on anything. You know what I mean? Like you've already put it out there by being who you are, by being the sweet, beautiful, powerful, desirable human being that you are. You've already put it out. You've already put it out there to the world, right? So there's already that person out there in love with you, wanting to be with you. And when you know that and feel that way, it lets it come. So it's not really, you don't really have to try to do anything. So, and I loved her answer about like putting it, not convincing him, but just sharing your perspective. And like, hey, this is how I feel. The funny thing about energy is it feels, when you express it, it doesn't feel as heavy as it does when you don't. So if you're holding a lot of energy in and it's like a lot of momentum and you really want to say it to this person and you don't get to say it, it kind of builds and builds and builds, but you just kind of say it and you're just like, hey, I like you. I think you can do that. You know, like when Gianna broke up with me, I was like, hey, I think you're making a big mistake. But I'm not like
investing in my opinion.
Yeah.
And needing that approval or validation.
Yeah, exactly, because you don't. So yeah, so I just feel like, you know, just knowing how awesome you are, knowing what you want, knowing what you're doing is such a great job, and feeling really great about that is going to let that, you know, happen. And another thing that I was going to add is that I've really been feeling lately, and this comes with money, this comes with relationships, it comes with anything that you desire, is relationships, money, it's all basically emotional, right? Because that's what we are. We are our feelings, our emotions. We are this energy, right? And when we can express that, when we can keep the channels flowing, whether it's expressing it or just going within and just transforming it because we're that powerful or whatever, that's when that flow keeps going. So we like stop up the flow by not expressing who we are or not letting the energy out or whatever, or not focusing on something else. And then we sort of think that it's this big issue and all this sort of stuff when we just kind of let it out, the universe answers the questions for us. The universe, that person.
It's already done. It's like we've expanded to that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like it's not something you have to force into being. It's something that you just have to get out of the way of. It's already created. You just have to let it into your physical reality.
Exactly. So the thing would, and that's kind of what I said earlier with the guy. If you feel it's like this soulmate connection, that's beautiful. That's amazing. Great job. That's the universe saying you're doing a great job. But if this character doesn't feel that way, you can just be yourself and you can say how you feel and you don't have to worry about this character. And people say things all the time as we're ever growing, ever changing individuals that don't really mean the word that's coming up is shit, you know, because they just say things in different moments and we're always changing. So on one level, the character might be like, yeah, you know, I don't want to be in a relationship right now, because maybe he doesn't know that, or she, they don't know. I think it's me right now. That's him, yeah. They don't know that they're just don't know what they're talking about. And when that energy gets expressed, they're like, huh, whoa, yeah, I can do that. They just don't know really what they're saying. A lot of times when we're not coming from that heart place, we don't really know what we're saying. What we're saying is not even, it's not true. And we don't even know that it's true. By I mean true on our deepest level of heart focus.
Right. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, you know, people can change, but, and, you know, the right people, if he's your person, he'll change. But it's like he's not going to change, or somebody better will come along. But neither of that's going to happen until you change what within you as a vibrational match to the emotional unavailability. And I think that's what it's about today.
Beautiful. Wow. It's so beautiful how everything is connecting, and me and Gianna are really great at law of attraction. But I was going to say, what you said, an emotional unavailability. You're not being emotionally available with him as well by not
holding back.
Yeah, by holding back. So that right there is a vibrational match.
Right. So I think that yeah, that's something to really. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've been doing that with him. I have a fear.
Yeah, you might want to. Okay, this is
that much.
Whoa, I feel lots of energy in my belly. Ah, heart. That's good. Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing that with him. I have a fear of opening up that much. It's dependent on his reaction to my love. It also some practical things that we're letting get in the way. Oh my God, yeah, I'm being emotionally unavailable too. Oh my God.
Yeah. So hopefully this gave you a lot of clarity. And if you guys are watching the replay, you can go ahead and ask questions in the Facebook group, and we'll answer them when we get the chance. And if you have any questions about the training, go ahead and ask them in the group as well. We hope you learned a lot, and we loved doing this together and teaching you guys and things like that. Yeah,
and I was just gonna say I do life coaching. So if anybody would like to get a see if you want to work with me, I'm all about owning your power. And if anybody also, I have this book called Love Poems to Manifest Your Soulmate. that is all about my journey to manifesting my soulmate through the work of poetry, and that's $10. If anybody wants to buy that, I could send that to you. It's actually 10 plus $2 for the mailing address, so you can hit that up. And if, yeah, any questions that come up, feel free in this group. You got it. We're gonna post the video, and any questions that come up, we can answer them. And yeah.
And if anybody wants more support in manifesting their soulmate relationship, feel free to, you know, you can hit me up and we can talk about getting more support from me as well. That's something you feel encouraged to. So, hope you guys have a really great night or day wherever you're at.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Y'all are the best. Thank you.
You're the best too.
You're the best too. Exactly.
All right. I hope you all have a great night, whether you're watching live or recording or day.
And I just want to, before you guys, just say thank you to Jen for expressing herself and asking these deep, intimate questions, because that is a great way to really let go or transcend anything that you're going through. So just being open and honest. I really appreciate you showing up for that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Have a good day, last night, and leave any questions you have in the group. And we love
go dancing tonight and have a great time and buy yourself flowers, and you're beautiful.